This is Juba Echo English News Hour. I am Awate William Umba. First, the news headlines. East African Community Women's Integrational Dialogue kicks off in Arusha, Tanzania. Futsal Courts Cup of South Sudan Independence kicks off in Juba on Saturday. Erratic power supply takes toll on Ghanaian businesses. Now the news in details. The East African Community Women's Integrational Dialogue has kicked off in Arusha, Tanzania. The event brought together women leaders from across the region to discuss challenges facing young women as they aspire for excellence in education, professional, and leadership development.
The first East African Community Women's Intergenerational Dialogue has kicked off in Arusha under the theme Harnessing Intergenerational Dialogue to Galvanize Transformative Women Leadership in East Africa to Sustainable Peace and Development.
And therefore, when you talk about the leadership and the future of East Africa, we have to bring young women and youth in general on board. So this will be the first intergenerational dialogue with women across all East African partner states. It will be a hybrid event so that we can allow young people and also senior women in all the partner states of East African community to be able to engage.
The gathering marked the first engagement of the young women with senior women leaders drawn from the government and non-governmental organizations in East African community. Friendly sports competition with women parliamentarians from the East African Legislative Assembly in Tanjeru Institute of Community Development in Arusha.
Given the historical distortions in terms of empowerment of the girl child, even if we have a number of them in leadership, there is still outside there communities that still do not take serious a girl child.
We want to bring them together and we want to dialogue with them, see what they are thinking about themselves, what they are thinking even about us, because it seems that the women in leadership now have taken the space, has filled the space, and there is no any place for the younger generation or the younger women.
The engagement is to bring forward issues of young women, including their participation in leadership, peace, and governance.
One day, I dream that this consideration will never and ever be there again, because everyone will be feeling that he is equal to another. But when will this time come? This is my dream. But please, stand up. Stand up and fight. Do not fight in punching and kicking. No, use your brain and get what you deserve, because we are all human beings.
The chairperson of the Regional Assembly Women Caucus, Dr. Anne Ito, emphasized on the need to promote education and affirmative action for women in all levels of leadership.
And cultures that held women behind have not changed very much. It is still very difficult for a girl to go to school if the parents have to choose between the girl and the boy, because parents believe when they go away, the boy will carry their name. It's still also very common for parents to pull away their children from school because of workload in the house. So things have not changed. It is still very difficult for women to get access to finances. It's still very difficult for women to own. It's still difficult for women to get opportunities to go to school and to go to work.
This event offers a line of expectations looking deep on avenues for permanent opportunities to shape young women for leadership and governance. For Juba Echo TV, I'm Fatuma Sebit.
As Fatuma Sebit reports, Honorable Dr. Anne Ito Leonard says the initiative is to shape future women leaders and to create a platform of engagement for young women in collaboration with senior women leaders from all aspects. Futsal Courts Cup of South Sudan Independence kicks off in Juba on Saturday. The kick-off of the Futsal Courts Cup in South Sudan is a momentous occasion that symbolizes the spirit of independence and national pride. It serves as a reminder of the country's journey towards freedom and self-determination.
Tonkat Social, Culture and Sports Group organized a ceremony for the official opening of the second edition of the Tonkat Futsal Courts Cup of South Sudan Independence at the Melekia Sports Complex in Juba on Friday.
The main purpose of Tonkat to organize this tournament is to enhance the peaceful coexistence between the youth of South Sudan. The second thing is to encourage the youth to practice football and the other sports. Also is to shed light on the forgotten games, which is the futsal. Just want to remind Honorable General Madud Perek to give some attention to this very important game.
Futsal is a football-based game played on a hard court like basketball, smaller than a football pitch, and mainly indoors. Futsal is played between two teams of 5 players each, one of whom is a goalkeeper, but the version of South Sudan, each game is containing 6 players, including a goalkeeper.
In fact, football is part of futsal, is a part of South Sudan Football Association activity. We have a reason why, like what Abdallah said, that futsal has suffered a lot, and this is related to only resources. It's not the plan is there, the program is there, the strategy of establishing is there. But our problems is resources problems. We have 12 national teams, we have 2 national competitions, we have 2 clubs competing outside always, and with resources you will not be able to catch up with all this. You need establishment, we need resources, we need land, we need also to construct. So these are some of the challenges that facing SSFA not to do that.
Tonkat is one of the social groups that unite the youth of South Sudan through sports.
We in Tonkat Group, we recognize the importance of sport in shaping nations, societies, and communities. The power of sport in peace building, fostering understanding among the people around the world, and promoting harmony in our South Sudanese societies.
In the opening match of Group A of the Cup, the Melekia Sports Complex, Tonkat FC defeated Al Hasm FC 2-0. Bravo Samuel opened the scoring for Tonkat with a brilliant finish. Henry Edwards striked from outside the box to secure the 3 points for Tonkat. With a win, Tonkat moved top of Group A with 3 points, while Al Hism sit bottom of the group. 8 teams are competing in the second edition of the Futsal Courts Independence Cup. The teams are drawn into 2 groups. Each group comprises of 2 teams. The top 2 teams will progress to the semi-finals of the cup. The final is set to take place on the 8th July 2024. For Juba Eco TV, I'm Fatuma Sebit.
Chairperson of the Manufacturers and Private Sector urges business persons in South Sudan to increase the production of local commodities in the country. Kennedy Lobiong Keji says the business persons should provide consumers with assurance that they are purchasing goods or services that have been tested and approved by a regulatory body.
The quality mark has opened new opportunities, which are the regional and international markets. We have the RED and the African Continental Free Trade Area. With this quality mark, we can now sell our locally produced goods anywhere in the world. This means we need to take advantage of the markets with potential that we already have in some of the commodities within our country that are not available in the region and in the world. We currently have an existing strategy called the NAIS, which is the National Investment and Export Strategy that we worked on. A new day has begun for the private sector to start utilizing this opportunity that comes with the quality market. Let us not only look at the local market, but let us spread our wings and utilize the bigger markets. I want to encourage all the local manufacturers to visit South Sudan National Bureau of Standards and get a certification with the quality mark.
In the international news, erratic power supply takes toll on Ghanaian businesses.
Preserving chicken and fish in Francis Dankwa's cold store in Accra means keeping the lights on throughout the day. But he says there's no guarantee of a 24-hour power supply every day.
The lights just go off at any time within the day, and it lasts for about 6 to 12 hours.
Ghana has been experiencing erratic power supply since February. The unannounced power outage in parts of Ghana, including the capital Accra, is affecting many businesses. This cold store does not have a standby generator to power its refrigerator. Francis says his fish and chicken go bad whenever the lights go off for long hours. Ghana's power challenges are not due to a lack of enough generation capacity to meet demands. Ghana's power plants have the capacity to generate nearly 4,000 megawatts of electricity, which is more than the national demand. However, independent power producers supply the bulk of the electricity. Analysts believe the private power suppliers have refused to continue providing electricity because the government owes them nearly $2 billion.
Whenever the light goes off for long hours, I lose about $100 worth of chicken and fish. It's really bad.
Energy experts want Ghana to fully utilize the nation's largest hydro dam, the Akosombo Dam, which is currently generating electricity below its capacity and has to periodically spill excess water to prevent the dam from collapsing.
These other power producers may have to drop production. That energy politics must be agreed, and it must be spearheaded by the Ministry of Energy. Because he will bring all the power producers together and make sure that this agreement is signed. If that agreement is not reached, you reach out to the West Africa Power Pool, of which Ghana is a member, and then negotiate with neighboring countries who have deficit in terms of power generation, and then sell the excess power to them.
But the government is not considering this yet. It has agreed with the independent power producers to restructure the debt and pay within a 5-year period. Francis Dankwa hopes the deal will help provide stable power so he can cut back on his losses.
South Africa swears in new cabinet of national unity.
South African Deputy President Paul Mashatile was sworn in for a second term in office, and 32 cabinet ministers and their deputies from 7 of the 10 political parties that make up the Government of National Unity also pledged their faithfulness to the Republic of South Africa and its constitution. They say they're already working together to get funding to where it's needed the most.
The Minister of Finance just whispered to me to say there's money that we've identified for the Defence Force because it's really been a perennial problem. So we will get some money from what he indicated to me, and I think we'll start addressing the problems that were bedeviling the department.
They say they take the oath of office very seriously.
In terms of our constitution, we all have got a responsibility to build our country, to make sure that we make the principles and the values enshrined of the constitution to ensure that more people taste the fruits of our new democracy.
And want to start providing for the people of South Africa.
The key focus now is to get the country moving. It's to fix the economy, deal with infrastructure development, create jobs and push back on the frontiers of crime and corruption. All South Africans really want is a life that is better than what it was yesterday and today. And it is now incumbent on the newly elected and appointed executive to hit the ground running and to get the job done.
The Democratic Alliance, the ANC's biggest coalition partner, says the road ahead will be difficult. But with 6 cabinet ministers in South Africa's 7th administration, the DA remains determined to deliver on its election pledges.
We're going into government now at a national level. It'll be the first time. We remain a distinct political party of our own. But I think what we've done is made a transition from an opposition party into a party now that has met the call of South Africa. I think that the country is in deep crisis. We have one of the largest unemployment rates in the world, 30 million people trapped in poverty. All of these things need immediate solutions.
This is the first time in the nation's history that a broad range of parties from across the political spectrum will work together to govern South Africa. And President Ramaphosa says the people of South Africa have a rightful expectation that the GNU ministers will get to work as soon as possible.
UN Assembly adopts China proposed resolution to enhance international cooperation on AI capacity building.
There was no debate needed. Member states threw their support behind China, making it clear the importance of artificial intelligence governance. The resolution put forward by China emphasizes the need for all member states, no matter how big or small, to enjoy equal opportunities in the design, development and deployment of AI. It also calls for the digital divide to be narrowed, as developing countries, it says, can often not keep up with the rapid pace of artificial intelligence development.
This resolution highlights the important role that the UN plays in the governance of AI. As we all say that the United Nations is the most representative and the most inclusive international forum. And it is only by giving a central role to the United Nations, especially on the issue of AI governance, that we can really achieve what we have been saying all along, that is to leave no countries out and to leave nobody behind.
The resolution, according to the Chinese permanent representative, had over 140 co-sponsors, something he says proves just how important AI development is to the world. China believes that some member states should leave behind their selfish interests for the good of the global community. And while some countries do sometimes disagree on some topics here at the United Nations, there are many they often agree on too.
Very appreciative of the positive role that the US has played in this whole process. And well, China is ready to work with the US on the issue of AI, as actually this is an issue that has been discussed at a very senior level, at the foreign ministers level and also even at the head of states level. So we do look forward to intensifying our cooperation with the United States and, for that matter, with all countries in the world on this issue, which, as I said, will have far-reaching implications in all dimensions.
China says it hopes that this non-binding resolution, once put into action, will ensure the better use of AI technologies around the world, warning that the time has come for a global document to govern this technology, given the risks and the dangers associated with it.
And now the sports news with Deng.
All right, bringing you up to speed with sports, beginning with a local scene. I must say, bringing you up to speed in the world of sports. Today, the 4th of July 2024, must be an historical day for South Sudan as draws in the CECAFA Kagame Senior Challenge Cup and the African Cup of Nations 2025 Morocco have all been conducted. Now, beginning with the regional scene, the games will, of course, see South Sudanese representatives Merrick from Bantu take on Ugandan champions SC Villa on the 9th of July. On the 12th of July, they will be back in action against APR of Rwanda. Meanwhile, they will finalize their group stage games against Singida FC of Tanzania. You must also remember Merrick from Bantu are participating in this tournament for the very first time. Previously, South Sudan was represented in this tournament by Atlabara. Now, looking at the continental showpiece, South Sudan has been drawn in a Group K of the 2025 African Cup of Nations Morocco alongside South Africa, who went up to the semi-finals of the recently concluded African Cup of Nations, where Cote d'Ivoire were crowned the champions. Meanwhile, in the same group, there is CECAFA teams in the names of Congo and, of course, arch-rivals Uganda in the same particular group. Now, moving outside of the African continent, Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag has extended his stay at the club to 2026. Club sources have confirmed this afternoon. Meanwhile, to wrap it up, in the world of transfers, Real Madrid have shown interest in signing Crystal Palace and England defender Mark Guehi as they look to bolster the defense after the departure of Nacho and, of course, players like Dani Carvajal aging at the club right above there. Perhaps this right here will be our bus pack in the world of sports for today. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you. Let's have the weather update.
Many thanks for joining me on the weather. My name is Milin Demir. Now let's look at today's current weather, which is 29 degrees Celsius, feels like 30. It is mostly cloudy, while tonight will drop low to 26 degrees Celsius, feels like 27. It will be mostly cloudy and windy, and dawn hours will go low to 23 degrees Celsius, feels like 24. It will be cloudy and cold, while tomorrow's weather Friday will look like 37, highs with temperatures very hot, and it will be at 37, feels like 41. While in the night hours will drop to 24 degrees Celsius, low, and it will feel like 25. It will be cloudy. Thank you so much for joining me. Have the best of your day.
Now the recap of the headlines once again. East African Community Women's Integrational Dialogue kicks off in Arusha, Tanzania. First Courts Cup of South Sudan Independence kicks off in Juba on Saturday. Erratic power supply takes toll on Ghanaian businesses. That was Juba Echo Television News. Thank you. I am Awate William Umba.
This is Juba.